Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Face the Heels. This is episode 26. My name is Ben Cornett. How is everybody doing this evening? Um, Sorry for the 8 minute delay there. Got home a little late and trying to get this show going. So I know it's supposed to be 10 p.m. Eastern. So I was about 8 minutes late. My apologies for that. Tonight is going to be a very unique night, as you know. We had a lot going on in the wrestling world, both good and uh, sad, unfortunately, this past week. So why don't we just get into it tonight? Let's uh, let's start off with the sad. Um, when the last episode I did, um, a lot of it was, you know, memory of Terry Funk, who passed away last Wednesday. He was 79 years old, and as sad as that was, which was sad, and no doubt about it. I mean, Terry Funk was an all-time legend in the wrestling industry. Um, I mean, who'd have thought the next day that we we would lose Bray Wyatt? You know, his real name Wyndham Rotunda. He passed away Thursday afternoon. Um, just what a shock, you know. He was just 36, and um, I just couldn't believe it when I, saw the alert on my phone, um, that it said what it said, and yeah, it's shocking. I mean, you know, 36. That's all he was 36 years old when he passed away. Now, according to reports, it was Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. He was given permission to give the cause of death, which was a heart attack, and they think it was COVID related, you know, from past COVID issues that led to heart issues. And there's more reports today coming out saying that he apparently Thursday morning or something like that, mid morning, he went to take a nap. He said he needed to go take a nap, and um, his wife JoJo, as you know, I don't know if you know this, but JoJo Offerman was a ring announcer for WWE for, I believe, NXT and Raw and SmackDown. She became Bray's wife several years ago, and they got 4 kids, which is it's devastating when now that they are not going to have a dad anymore, and JoJo's not going to have a husband, you know. But anyway, so apparently he went to go tell JoJo he's taking a nap, and his alarm on the phone, I guess, kept going and going, and for like an hour, and so it didn't, according to his wife, didn't seem right. So she found him unresponsive, called 911. Because Bray's mom was there as well, trying to give CPR. Didn't work. Paramedics came, and it was just too late. So, yeah, he's passed away at the age of 36, and that's a big loss for, not just for the pro wrestling world, for his family and 4 kids that, aren't gonna, that Bray's not gonna be able, or Wyndham is not gonna be able to see grow up. I'm I don't have a family, I don't have kids, but I can only imagine what they're going through right now. The family, you know, you know, just send my thoughts and prayers and condolences to them. Ah, it's tough. On Friday night they did a SmackDown. Um, was I thought a very good tribute show to them for Bray. Um, did some reminiscing, some videos, some clips. Uh, I saw on Twitter or X, um, a lot of the wrestlers just who worked with Bray, who knew him, just never heard a bad thing about it. One of them was Zelina Vega's like Bray was very helpful toward her. When she came to WWE through NXT, um, was helping her out, working with her. And, same thing with a lot of the wrestlers. Uh, Big E, he had a story where him and Bray or Wyndham both were supposed to compete in the state championships in high school, I believe, because they went to the same high school, or they were in the same city, and they were on wrestling teams. So yeah, I mean, a lot of wrestlers have tweeted out, gave their stories about, what a great person Bray was, how helpful he was, to the wrestling industry. I believe Baron Corbin had a story where, I think it was Baron Corbin. I can't be too sure, but I know somebody, I think it was him, that said something like, he was taking like bumps with Bray. And then down the road, like maybe a year or two later, Bray came up to him and said, I remember who you are, and to Baron or whoever it was, I believe it was Baron Corbin, that said that meant the world to him, because somebody thought of him, that way. So it was just those little things that Bray did, and yeah, he just garnered a lot of respect from everybody in that locker room, everybody in the wrestling industry. He just was really one of a kind, and it's just, it's just, it's a shame that we lost you don't ever want to lose anybody in the wrestling business, but somebody of the caliber of Bray Wyatt, to lose somebody who was such a creative individual. I mean, as you can see in that picture there, I threw up there. I mean, he just was so creative, such a great mind for the business. His personality just, captured everybody's, attention. They say in the wrestling business, the what they call the it factor, and you can't really quite explain what that is. You either have it or you don't. But Bray definitely has it, and he did have it. When he got there, and I believe it was like 2014, him, the late Luke Harper, Brody Lee, Eric Rowan, and then you had a young Braun Strowman in the group. Just amazing. I don't know. It's just so set. We didn't really get to see enough of Bray. I felt like, because if you remember, he had injuries. Also, he also was let go by WWE a few years ago. Then he came back a couple years ago. So I felt like we really never got to fully see what this special individual could do, you know. And yeah, he did win multiple WWE titles, the Universal title. Um, you know, he accomplished a lot in a I felt in a short amount of time. But I just felt like there could have been more, you know, and we're not getting a chance to really see him up close. You know, I felt like he was just starting to get to get to that next level. You know, get back into that main event scene that I feel he belongs in. Um, you know, he did his, I believe his, you know, he had feuds with, you know, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan when he was at WWE, uh, his WrestleMania match with The Undertaker. Um, it was the one where the WrestleMania where Seth Rollins won, you know, cashed in the Money in the Bank um, to win the WWE title from Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So yeah, I mean, he just had some incredible feuds, and uh, his last feud was obviously with LA Knight. Obviously, you know, that was some pretty good stuff. I thought. Uh, you know, maybe that match they had at Royal Rumble wasn't the best, but the build up to it with him and LA Knight was really good stuff. You know, Bray was playing off that multi personality uh, type gimmick, and you know, LA Knight was a good foil for him. You know, the chemistry I thought was going really well, and to me, I felt like this was going to really elevate LA Knight to the next level. Now, LA Knight did go down the pipe a little bit, but he's, as you can see lately, the last few months, he's really gotten, you know, over very well by the crowd, and he's become one of the top stars in the WWE right now, and really in all wrestling. I mean, you could just hear the crowds every week whenever he's out there. Um, but yeah, you know, Bray Wyatt was just a very unique individual. He's one of those guys where I don't know if you're ever going to see that again, because there's just certain wrestlers that come once in a generation, and I felt like Bray was one of those guys. Just from a creative standpoint, uh, he was just unique in that respect. It was different, really like you've never seen before. You know, coming out with the lantern and uh, you know, having that, you know, manipulative mind to manipulate people, and it's almost cult like, you know. And I thought it was a really cool gimmick. Uh, you know, then, you know, later on uh, developed. He had kind of had a different look. You know, the mask and everything, which I thought was just really next level. I'll put the picture up again one more time. Right there, in the far back, right there. There it is. In the very back, there's that look. That isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen. I mean, if you're into like horror movies, this was this is like the coolest mask I've ever seen. I mean, and that's another thing too. There was talks that Bray Wyatt was possibly being talked about doing films, doing movies, and um, I believe he could have done a really really good job doing that. Because Bray is such a great character. His personality is great for the TV. He's TV friendly, or as they say, camera friendly. Um, so yeah, I definitely think if Bray went on to Hollywood and did any acting, he could have done some movies. He could have done some like horror movies because he just has that personality, that character that you know fans in the horror movie genre would really take a liking to. So yeah, it Bray is just going to be missed. He's going to be missed forever. It's just so sad to see a guy that was just really right on the tip of the iceberg of being an all-time being possibly an all-time great because of his character, his uniqueness, the feuds that he had. Again, he had feuds with the Undertaker, Daniel Bryan. I mean, some high-level feuds. He with Randy Orton. Some of the stuff they did. When him and Orton were a tag team, about 5-6 years ago. I mean, then they had a feud. It was incredible. So yeah, this is again Bray Wyatt's one of the greats, and I feel like we as wrestling fans I feel we were robbed of seeing him become even better, but it just wasn't meant to be. That's I think the good Lord called him. And now he's up there with Brody in heaven, and just going to be missed, man. It's tough. It's really one of the tough losses because again, I was a big fan of Bray, and his work, his creativity was just next level. So, yeah, and what's really kind of sad too is that Cody Rhodes was on SmackDown. He talked about Bray Wyatt too, and he had to do the same thing a couple years ago when Brody Lee passed away when Cody was in AEW. So that's tough. I mean, and for Eric Rowan as well. I mean, Eric Redbeard and the Wyatt family. He came to Brody Lee's tribute show in AEW, and then had to be on this show for the Bray Wyatt tribute. So that's tough, man. It's tough to lose two friends within a few years apart, and I can only imagine. It's just, but yeah, I don't know if there's anything more to say. If anybody wants to leave a comment, um, tell us your Bray Wyatt stories. What was your favorite Bray Wyatt match or program? I always felt like the stuff that he did with Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan were really good stuff. Undertaker, and then the New Day when he was with the Wyatt family, they were going up against the New Day. That was some very good stuff as well. So, yeah. So, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt, and hopefully, we don't have any more tragic deaths, like this. I mean, I know there'll be more deaths, but just hope they're not like this, especially when somebody's only 36 and leaves behind a wife with 4 kids. It's sad all around. So, but cheers to Mr. Wyatt, Mr. Wyndham Rotunda. Yeah, so he's up there with Brody now, and may he rest in peace. So, okay. I went on about that for 20 minutes, but I felt Bray deserved that. Bray deserves his flowers for sure, and yeah, he's going to be missed. Definitely going to be missed. All right. Well, now we're going to get into another topic. As you know, this past weekend, last night, as a matter of fact, AEW had their All-In show. It was in London. The crowd that was announced for that show was 81,035 fans. I mean, if you look at it, we don't know for sure if that's 81,000 and if that's actually accurate. I know Tony Khan said in the media scrum after the show that it was the highest paid income for the show in Wembley Stadium history. So, yeah, as far as the actual show went, again, I thought it was a very good show. From an entertainment standpoint, I enjoyed, pretty much 90% of it. There was, 10% of it that was, okay. But again, overall, I thought from an effort standpoint, the wrestlers, the men and women went out there and just worked their ass off. And, it really showed in the matches. We'll try and go over as many as we can. Obviously, the pre-show, I didn't get to see it, but MJF and Adam Cole, who will face each other later in the night for the AEW World Title, took on Aussie Open. It's for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, and MJF and Adam Cole ended up winning the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. It's a bit of a surprise for me. I thought that's where we would probably see the tension and everything would fall apart, and somebody would stab the other guy in the back, so to speak. But instead, they end up winning the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. I mean, I'm okay with it, I guess. I don't know if you have to put the tag team titles on them, but it is what it is. Again, Ring of Honor, it's nothing against Ring of Honor, but it's just to me, right? Ring of Honor is a developmental thing for people to go up to the AEW main roster, is what I'm saying. It's kind of like NXT. That's what I consider ROH right now. It's the NXT of AEW. So, again, make of it what you want to make of it. But the Ring of Honor tag team titles were won by Adam Cole and MJF. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see if they'll defend them. They might defend them at their Ring of Honor's next pay-per-view, whatever that is. But yeah, so they won that match. Also, like I said, they're gonna have a match. They're gonna be in the main event of the All-In show with for the world title that MJF has. The other match on the pre-show, or what they called 0 Hour, was it's for the FTW title. It was Jack Perry defending it against Hook. Hook ends up winning the FTW title. Yeah, right call. I mean, obviously, FTW title, it's not a real title, but, it's a title to, I guess, it came from ECW back in the late 90s, where Taz It was like his world championship. You know, it was like him being the uncrowned world champion. So he made his own belt. Um, and ironically enough, Hook is the son of Taz. So, but I think a lot of people already know that. So anyway, Hook won the title there, but the real story happened before the All In show started, and I'm gonna get to that right now. So we're gonna talk about it. The opening match to All In was the real world champion CM Punk defending the real world title against Ring of Honor TV champ uh, Samoa Joe. But the big news came before all that. According to Fightful Select um, and other outlets, after Jack Perry went back to the gorilla position after his match with Hook, apparently there was a scrum between him and CM Punk. Now, there's an incident several weeks back, over I believe it was on Collision, where CM Punk asked Jack Perry not to use real glass for a spot in a match, and I guess Jack Perry was not happy with that. CM Punk, there's a little tension there. Well, what ended up happening, according to the reports now, we've heard that Jack Perry went back to the locker room. Now, he in his match with Hook, he got slammed into the windshield of the limo he came out of before his match. So apparently, Jack Perry said something to the effect of, "Hey, this is real glass," saying that to CM Punk. So apparently that escalated. Punk, again, according to the reports from Fightful and Wrestling Inc., saying that Punk actually went up to Jack Perry, had some words with him, then it escalated. There weren't punches thrown, but there was, some reports say Punk had him in a headlock. Others say that Punk, grabbed him by the hair, and they had to be separated. And so apparently Jack Perry was sent home, after the show, or he was sent back to the hotel room. He had to leave the stadium, and I noticed that there was a little bit of delay with the opening of All In, because Punk was the opening match with Samoa Joe. So that took a few minutes. Production had to buy time, because of what happened. And I read this during, I believe it was when the FTR Young Bucks match came up. And I went on Twitter, and I shouldn't have, because I wanted to see the pictures that, fans are putting up, because there are a lot of people that went All In. But when I saw those reports, I was like, again, with CM Punk? Really? I mean, this is AEW's biggest night ever. This is their biggest show ever. And once again, now, who knows who started this thing? Even if CM Punk didn't start this and it was Jack Perry, once again, who's the name we hear about when we have these issues? CM Punk. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. This is like the biggest show for AEW. I really wanted this show to take away from those distractions from the previous crap that we've seen with CM Punk and the stuff that's been going on lately, for the past, really ever since he's gotten back to AEW. And now you have this to add on to it. So it didn't, it brought me down a little bit as a fan, but it didn't But I said, no, I'm gonna watch the show. I don't want to look at this whole Punk thing. I'll deal with that later. But yeah, so that's what happened. And today as well, we found this out on Sportskeeda that so there's belief within AEW is that CM Punk and Jack Perry are going to be suspended, pending the results of an investigation. So they may not be on the All Out pay-per-view next Sunday. By the way, AEW has another pay-per-view this weekend, Labor Day weekend, called All Out in Chicago, ironically, so where, of course, CM Punk's from. If they are suspended, I think it's the right call. I mean, you can't. Something's got to be done with this crap. I mean, CM Punk, it just seems like to me he just walks on water, and it's rubbed a lot of, fans, including myself, the wrong way, and the wrestlers and the talent. They're frustrated with this crap. And I don't know. I mean, I just feel like CM Punk's really not worth the headache. And really, he's not the draw that he thinks he is. And I like CM Punk as a wrestler. He's great, but I mean, ever since he's gotten back, man, we've seen these issues just keep coming up and coming up. And something's got to be done, because this is just, it's ridiculous. And I get it. I know Tony Khan thinks Punk is a big draw, but really? I mean, has he really been that big a draw? Ever since he's gotten back, you gave him his own show pretty much, Collision. And, now he's kicking certain people out of that can't be on the show. He had agents being taken off that show. Agents. So that, what wrestling agents are, they work with the wrestlers, they go over the matches and everything. And he's got Christopher Daniels, who's an agent for AEW. He got him barred from Collision. And he's like the director of talent relations. It's true. He's gotten the talent of relations not to be on Punk's show. So I don't know. I've had it with this whole Punk thing, and it's just unfortunate. It's just, I don't know, man. Something's got to be done with that. Let's see. Here we got a comment. This one is from Facebook user. Side note, at WWE Payback, I got Damian Priest cashing in Money in the Bank on a banged up Seth Rollins. I could see that. That's Mr. Will Tick Holloway. Thank you, Will, for coming on tonight. Appreciate the comment. I could see that. I actually could. I think Seth will win the match at Payback. But I could see Damian Priest actually cash it in. I could see that. That may be the direction they go. We've seen, and we'll get back to AEW All In a minute, but as far as what we're seeing on Raw tonight, this is the go-home show to Payback. There's some tension between, Damian Priest and Finn Balor, so I definitely can see that. I really could, and maybe Finn's the one that gets the boot out of there, because he's been, buddy with JD McDonough, who just came up to the main roster from NXT. So, yeah, I could definitely see that, Will. I could definitely see that. Be a very unique move there. So, yeah, anyway, I'm done talking about CM Punk. But I will mention that he did beat Samoa Joe. So CM Punk won, kept the real world title now. We'll see where it goes there. He's most likely going to be suspended. So I don't know where CM Punk goes at this point, but I don't know. It's a mess, and Tony Khan, he's going to have to do something about it. It's is it really worth having a guy like that causing that kind of problem? Is it worth it? Is it worth the headache? I don't think so. Maybe maybe a decade ago when Punk was at a sky high level popularity wise, okay, maybe you could deal with that. But when he's not as big a draw as he thinks he is, then I don't think it's worth it. I think you try and do what you can to cut ties with him at this point, because if he's going to be a problem in that locker room, if he keeps continuing, then it's just going to get worse. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about CM Punk. Let's get on to the rest of the show. We won't take too much time left, but I just want to say that the next match, I believe it was Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and Kota Ibushi. Let me get it right here. He took on Jay White, Juice Robinson, and sorry guys, Takeshita. The Bullet Club Gold, White and Juice Robinson and Takeshita, they defeated Hangman, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. I thought it was a pretty good match. It's what I expected. High flying, everybody getting their spots in. I think this is the right call for Bullet Club Gold and Kosuke Takeshita going over. We're probably going to see Omega and Takeshita. They'll still go with their program, and you'll probably see a match maybe this weekend at All Out. So, yeah, it was a good match. The next match was for the AEW World Tag Team titles. It was the big. This was the one I was kind of looking forward to the most, between the champs FTR and the Young Bucks. FTR retains. This match went about 25-30 minutes. I thought it was a great match. Lots and lots of near falls. I'm not the biggest fan of those, but it didn't take away from the match. I felt like both teams delivered. They were stiff as well, so they made it look real. They went out there, just gave each other their best shots, their best moves. Fighting on the outside, just very good flow to the match. And yeah, FTR retains with the Shatter Machine. Like I said, multiple near falls in the match, but ultimately FTR hit their move, got the win. After the match, FTR wanted to, shake hands with the Young Bucks, but they blew them off, just left the ring. So I got a feeling that story's not over yet. They'll probably have another match, possibly. We'll see what happens with that. Let's see. We had the Fatal 4-Way for the AEW Women's title. That was between the champ Hikaru Shida taking on the hometown Saraya, Toni Storm, and Dr. Britt Baker. Saraya ends up winning the AEW Women's title. I can't say I'm shocked by that. I think that was kind of expected, since it was in Saraya's home country, England. Thought it was cool. She came out to Queen's We Will Rock You song. Had her whole family out. Pretty cool scene, and good for Saraya. I think, that's probably going to be the best moment of her career to date. And a little side note, too. Mercedes Moné, who the former Sasha Banks, was at the All In show. They showed her a few times in the audience. She was in one of the press boxes. So she's not signed with AEW, but I could see a scenario where she'll make some appearances and maybe have a match with somebody on the AEW roster. I know they do that with New Japan a lot. And speaking of, Tony Khan also said in his media scrum after the All In show that there will be a pay-per-view called Wrestle Dream, where they will work with New Japan, kind of like Forbidden Door. That show will be October 1st in Seattle, so it'll be interesting there. So it's going to be another pay-per-view for Tony Khan, where he only used to do 4 a year, but apparently now there's like 7, because you have Revolution and usually around March, Double or Nothing at the end of May during Memorial Day weekend. You had Forbidden Door, and July you had All In this weekend. Now you got All Out, and you're gonna have Wrestle Dream October 1st. By the way, they said that Wrestle Dream's in honor of the late Antonio Inoki, who passed away on October 1st of, I forget what year it was, but it was on October 1st. So that's when they'll have the show every year. So yeah, we'll see about that. And then you got Full Gear, which was announced. It'll be November 18th, I believe. Saturday night, November 18th. It'll be in LA at the Forum. So that's 7 pay-per-views. So they've, and then next year, All In will be back in London at Wembley Stadium. They just announced that last night as well. So they're going to do another one. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. That's pretty cool. They're going to be back in London. Yeah, so like I said, they used to have 4 pay-per-views a year. Now they're going to have 7 this year. So we'll see how that goes. I'm more of the traditional 4 pay-per-views. Give a couple months of build for storylines, but I don't know if that's a initiative with, Warner Brothers Discovery, who own AEW. But 7 pay-per-views, that's quite a bit. You got to wonder if eventually they'll, AEW will do something like WWE does with Peacock, where they have all their premium live events on Peacock. Just get a subscription. So, ideally, they could be on Max, AEW. So, Tony Khan said earlier in the week, last week, that on a media call that he would love to have AEW on Max on a streaming platform. So, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we'll get back to the All In recap real quick. Some other matches on the card. We had the Stadium Stampede. Obviously, that was Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and then the returning Santana and Ortiz. They took on Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, Eddie Kingston. That was a good match. I enjoyed it. Penta, one half of the Lucha Brothers, was on the Best Friends and Eddie Kingston team. Good match, good stadium match. It is what it is. I would say it's like blood and guts without the cage. You're going to see a lot of shenanigans. And if you saw it, Moxley had the barbecue skewers in his head, which was just damn near crazy. Never seen that before. So that was pretty unique. But Best Friends, Penta, and Eddie Kingston end up winning the match, with Orange Cassidy hitting the Superman punch on Claudio Castagnoli with a taped fist full of glass on it. Yeah, taped fist full of glass on it. But it did the job, and they ended up winning the match. So, yeah. It was okay. Gimmicky, but, had some good spots in it. Some fun. If you like that kind of stuff, that hardcore stuff, then this was your type of match. So, I'm going to get going in a few minutes, but I just want to run down the other stuff real quick. We had Sting and Darby Allin take on Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage. They did a really cool spot for the entrance for Sting and Darby. They were walking down a street in London, and Sting had his top hat on like Edgar Allan Poe, and Darby was with him. Sting had the Joker look, which I've always been a big fan of the Joker Sting. He did that in TNA. So they took on Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage. And Sting and Darby got the win. It was a coffin match, so they put Swerve in the coffin. And Sting and Darby ended up winning. They actually came out to Metallica's Seek and Destroy song, which I thought was really cool as well. So, yeah, I mean, as far as the match goes, it was pretty good. I'm a big fan of Swerve Strickland. I think this guy needs to be on TV more. He's just such a great performer, great wrestler, good on the mic. He's got that presence that, makes you pay attention to him. So if I'm AEW, I would really push Swerve. He's just such a good talent. When he was in NXT with what's that group? Hit Row. He was great in that. So yeah, I would definitely try to get Swerve Strickland as much TV time as possible because I think he deserves it. He's a very good performer. And he had a great match with Sting and Darby. I thought it was great. Christian Cage, best heel in the business, in my opinion, right now, even over MJF. So I said it, even over MJF. We had Jericho and Will Ospreay. That was a good match. Will Ospreay ended up winning that match. I thought it was good. And Jericho, these days it's all about putting the other guy over, and very professional, very unselfish. Will Ospreay, hometown guy from London, England. So yeah, he put on a very good match. Both of them did, and Will got the win. So his contract with New Japan's coming up soon. He could sign with AEW. I think that would be a great addition to AEW. But again, if you're going to sign these guys, you got to use them. Hopefully Tony Khan start using the guys he signed, like a Swerve Strickland or a Miro, who wasn't on the show, which surprises me. He should be. He should have been on the show somehow, some way, but I guess not. Also, we had a trios match, obviously, for the World Trios title. It was the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews defending their titles against the Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn. The Badass Billy Gunn came out, not Daddy Ass, but Badass Billy Gunn. They did a nice little tribute for Mr. Bray Wyatt, where Buddy Matthews had the lantern put in the middle of the stage. So that was a pretty cool touch. And the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn won the trios titles. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I thought it could have been a little better, but it wasn't bad. The heels in this one with the House of Black kind of dominating the match. Claim, feeding the comeback as baby faces. So they end up hitting their move and they got the win. So the Acclaimed win the trios titles, and then after the match, the House of Black gave them the titles out of respect. So I think we'll see another match between these two teams. I think this is a good rivalry. Both are very popular. The Acclaim, they've probably one of the more popular performers on the roster. Fans love them. I think they're great, and they're the trios champions now. So I think it's the right move. Happy for those guys. So yeah, that was a good match. On the main event, obviously we had Adam Cole going up against the AEW champion MJF. I thought it was a great match. Good storytelling there. I think what was great about it was the fact that um, both guys did not want to cheat. They wanted to cheat, but they just couldn't do it because it would ruin their friendship. So they were both hesitant, using weapons and stuff like that, like MJF with his ring, and Adam Cole with the chair. Or the belt, I should say. They didn't want to. They wanted to win the right way, and then you had some involvement with Roderick Strong, who's upset that Adam Cole's being best friends with MJF. He thinks MJF's not trustworthy. So MJF ends up winning. There's a lot of near falls, but in the end, MJF ended up doing a roll up on Adam Cole and won the match that way. And then after the match, Adam Cole was upset, threw his tag title down. MJF trying to calm him down, trying to make him feel better. And then after Cole just threw the tag title, Adam Cole or MJF got upset. Okay, this is all about, and you're being selfish. So he turned his back, said, "Hey, go ahead and do it. Stab me in the back." And he didn't do it. Adam Cole didn't do it, and they ended up hugging it out, and they're best friends again. So it was a good match. I liked it. They're going to continue the storyline, but I still think there's going to be a turn. We just don't know when that turn's going to be. Maybe it happens this week on Dynamite. Who knows? Stay tuned. But I still think this is going to be their program to ultimately lead to somebody turning heel, whether it's MJF or Adam Cole. Who knows what will happen there? But overall, this card was really good. Was it the best show I've ever seen? No, but I thought it was very good. And the crowd was good, but it felt kind of, I don't know, kind of strange. There were some moments where nobody was really cheering, giving out any reactions. So, but it is what it is. Again, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it. The whole Punk Jack Perry thing kind of brought it down for me a little bit, but not too bad to where, okay, let me just focus on this, watch the rest of the show, and then just worry about the other shit later. But yeah, I thought it was a very good show. So tell me what you guys think. If you guys watched the show, or even watched the highlights of it. Yeah, so overall, I thought it was a good show. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take off here, but I want to thank everybody who watched tonight. This was a tribute to Mr. Bray Wyatt, who we lost earlier this week. Just unfortunate to see that happen. Hopefully, we don't have any more of these tragedies. Because we could use some positivity right now. We had the All In show this past weekend, and we're going to have both Payback this Saturday night, and then All Out this Sunday night. So a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. And if you like the shows, please like and share and subscribe. My social media handles are up there on X/Twitter, BennyBoy702. You can watch this show on my YouTube channel, BenCornett9015. And if you're in the Ben Zone Facebook fan group, you can watch that as well. And if you're not in the Ben Zone and you're just a friend of mine, I put it on my personal page as well for you guys to watch. So with that being said, everybody, I'm going to take off, but this has been fun. Thanks again, guys. And we'll see you next time on Face the Heels. Have a good night.